Hello, everyone, and welcome to the latest and greatest episode of the Love Block Podcast. I'm Tyler.
I'm Josh.
We are back at the Bachelor Pad. We are back at the Trap House. We are back at the
Crackdown, baby.
Crackdown.
It was good. So we weren't here last week.
Yes, unfortunately, we had a bit of a delay due to COVID-19.
No cursed audio.
No cursed audio.
Yeah.
Audio should be fixed this week,
Yes.
apart from my scratchy throat.
Yeah, no, like me and you both, man. But no, it was COVID lockdown.
COVID lockdown. We didn't think Adelaide would go back into them because up until now, we've been pretty fucking good.
Pretty good. We had like a couple cases, right, or something?
Yeah, we had like 6 cases, and then it's like, nah, snap lockdown a week, smash it out.
Yep.
And we were good boys and didn't do the podcast, much to someone pushing me and peer pressuring me.
I wonder who that was. The inconvenient thing about it was the finals just wrapped up.
Yes.
That was
So the
real
finals
shitty.
wrapping up as the lockdown happened, so we couldn't do an episode on it.
But now we're here.
So we'll talk about it real quick.
Yeah, absolutely.
Finals happened.
I was right.
You were right.
I said $5 to $6
Yeah.
to
And
win the chip.
They did.
And
it.
they
Bucks
did
and six.
exactly that.
Yeah.
And I texted you when it happened. Obviously, it's old news now. You know, the Bucks won the chip. But can no longer talk slander to Giannis at
Correct.
this point. He's a champion. He's earned
And
it.
I responded with you with, that was one of the best performances I've ever seen.
Yeah. In finals history.
Yep.
One of the best performances we've
Yeah.
ever seen from someone which has gotten so much shit.
Yeah, 100%. I've been one of his biggest critics for years.
And valid, so.
Yeah, but it just...
But
He looked like an absolute world beater. Mid-range shots, close to the rim, hitting most of his free throws, like 17 of 19.
yeah. No one expected him to go 17 from 19.
Yeah.
He was insane.
So yeah, I have no criticisms. He's an absolute world beater.
Yeah. And something that we spoke about a couple of weeks ago on the pod was Giannis is that consistent floor that'll get you, 30 points on a night, 10, 15 rebounds, couple blocks, just solid offensively, defensively. And it was, can Chris Middleton and Drew Holiday step up when he's got that floor sorted? They don't really need to do much if the floor is above the other team's ceiling.
Exactly.
Dropping 50 points, that's crazy.
Just unstoppable.
You can't ask more from any player ever.
Exactly.
This is peak finals
This
MVP
is like
that we're
Kawhi,
seeing.
LeBron, MJ, Shaq. This is like at that level. He performed at that fucking level.
He's insane. And I remember we touched on it months ago, probably in last season's pod, about how Giannis, what he does, attacks the rim, the long limbs and the athleticism. He's better at that than anyone in the league.
Correct.
Better, and he's still got criticism because obviously he wasn't a good shooter, couldn't shoot free throws, couldn't shoot threes, things like that. He wasn't a great passer. But then it really shows it's like, I'm not just great at what I do, I'm the best in the world at what I do.
Correct.
And if you're the best at the world at what you do, like Shaq, you don't really need to change much.
But he did change.
And he did,
He
but-
got a mid-range shot.
He stuck to his bread and butter.
He did. Yeah, he didn't stray away from that.
Because something which was concerning initially when the playoffs started and we got into these important series, Giannis would shoot threes and they'd brick or they'd airball. He'd make some of them, but he's not great at it. Some would say not even good. But he stopped and he was, I'm confident in my mid-range shot. I can do what I do because I'm the best at it and I know it. I'm going to hit my free throws when it matters. And that to me is just, it's peak Giannis. And he's still so young.
Yeah.
He's
like
not
26.
Yeah, he's not 33.
No.
So
Definitely
we're gonna
still
see
room to grow.
We're going to see a lot more of this.
100%. The future is bright.
Yeah, and the most exciting thing about this is we've said it before, this isn't a Giannis thing, this is a Bucks thing. It's they've got a lot to prove.
Yeah.
And boy did they prove
They
it.
proved it. 100% they proved it.
100%.
So congratulations to the Milwaukee Bucks
Yep.
on a great season. And congratulations to the Phoenix Suns. You came very, very close.
Yes, yeah. Huge surprise.
And they're looking to run it back next season.
Yep.
Rightfully so.
Yeah.
They're an incredible team. Devin Booker played his ass off. Chris Paul struggled a bit late in the series, but that's a great team. Run it back. You have no reason not to run it back.
Run it back. DeAndre Ayton, with the progress he's made year after year, he's going to get better.
Even the progress just in the playoffs.
Yeah, he's going to get better.
100%. He had a very tough assignment.
Yeah, and this is
he stepped up.
The first year with Jay Crowder, first year with Chris Paul. Obviously these vets need time to mesh with the youngins. So the fact that Aiton's getting better and this team will mesh,
It took an
just run it back.
otherworldly performance to do them in.
Yeah. Absolutely.
No discredit to them. 100% run it back next year.
Something I don't want to just glance over as well is, I know Bud's not the best coach, but the fact they went 4-0.
Yeah, he stepped up.
He stepped up.
There was
when he
100%
needed to.
adjustments made for them to go 4-0.
Yep. Still not the best, but obviously, Giannis is the reason they won, but you can't go 4-0 and be an absolute turd of a coach.
100%.
Against
Brook Lopez
especially
didn't play
against
too
this
much
Phoenix
late in that series. Like, that makes adjustments, taking out your starting center and say, you know what, he's not working in this matchup. I'm going to take him out.
Yeah, no, I love what I saw with the Bucks. I'm super happy for them. I'm happy for the Milwaukee fans. It's about time they got a chip because I actually love Milwaukee. I've always loved the team because of a couple players. Michael Redd, one of my favorite
Brandon Jennings.
guards. Brandon Jennings, Bucks in 6. It's insane. His prophecy is now fulfilled. He's going to get his jersey in the rafters.
He absolutely should not. He should never have any jersey anywhere, not even on his own wall.
Not in the Shanghai Sharks.
Nah.
He put in some work, but
Yeah, 10 points a game.
it feels like Brandon Jennings' fairy tale has come to an end. This is it.
What, he's going to die?
No, I mean, like, now he's going to fade
Tomorrow,
into
Brandon Jennings
obscurity,
passes
right?
away.
The
The only
only
thing keeping us going was his soul. It's like Speck from Backy.
The only reason Brandon Jennings is ever mentioned is because of the meme, Bucks in 6. Now it's done.
Yeah, he's
What
going to
is-
pass away.
Yeah,
His
like,
soul
this
is
is-
going to fade away, and it's just a 90-year-old man in a
Yep.
30 man's body.
He's going to, fade away. So that's it.
One thing that I think is kind of funny. So obviously the Olympics are going on right now.
Yes.
I love the Olympics. I watch it fucking every day. But 3 players from the NBA Finals are on the Olympics team. Devin Booker, Chris Middleton, Drew Holiday.
Yeah.
So Devin Booker has to sit next to these guys after getting 4-0'd in that series.
Yeah. What did Devin Booker say after they lost? He was like, damn.
He's just like,
That was
damn.
it. Yeah.
And that's just the perfect, like,
Yeah.
it is what it is. Damn,
Yeah.
they won.
I don't expect Devin Booker and Aiden and all that to be crying after this. This is
No.
they got further than they
This
should
is
have.
their first playoff series.
Be proud of
They
this.
did an amazing job.
Yeah.
Run it back. Go back next year.
Yep, absolutely. If anyone, like, I wonder how Chris Paul feels to finally get this far
this
and then
close.
2 games away from finally getting your chip to seal your legacy. Because I know you have him in the top 3-point guards of all time. That's fine. But I know there are going to be some arguments against it because of the lack of the chip. So it would have been nice to see it.
Yeah.
But I just love Giannis too much.
Yeah,
What he's
fair
done
enough,
is phenomenal.
Fair enough. But today's episode has a bit of a big topic around it.
Yeah,
Something that
yep.
just happened, something that snuck up on us due to COVID and due to everything else, due to everything pushed back. I didn't get to do a draft block before the draft.
Yep.
But it is happening now. For those who listened last year, or for those who don't know, every year I do a breakdown of either 1 to 5 or 1 to 10 in the draft. I do a deep dive through their high school, college, or professional playing careers because some of these guys have actually been playing professionally for the past year. So I do a deep dive into them, and we're going to see, because you don't know anything about them.
No, I've intentionally stayed away from it because I look forward to the draft block, as you call it.
So this will be my breakdown for you and for the fans, and to see how they're going to mesh with the teams that pick them.
Yep.
Typically, I'm going to give you a rundown on their skill sets, their physique, their play styles, team that picked them, and comparisons.
Yep.
So we'll start off with first off, did you watch the draft or any of the draft?
I've been working, man. Been
Gotcha.
working my ass off.
I watched it through Adam's Snapchat.
Oh, he was telling me he was Snapchatting you live
Yeah,
updates.
I would hear
Oh, yeah.
din 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 din, and it's just Adam's Snapchat of me. It was great. Thank you, Adam. He's in the other room. He can hear us.
Yep.
So I'll start off with the number 1 pick, which was the Detroit Pistons.
Yep.
Selected Cade Cunningham.
Yes.
So
just to brief before you talk about him, my understanding of Cade, and I think I texted Adam or you about this, maybe both, was there was a trade proposed. Shea, like 4 picks from OKC for Cade Cunningham. And the Pistons were like, nah, we're good. And 2 things went through my mind before I knew anything about Cade. Was, wow, OKC were willing to give up Shea
yeah,
and a few picks for Cade. And then what's even crazier is Pistons went, nah, we're good.
we're good.
So I'm excited to see and hear everything about Cade. I think it was you texting me, he's meant to be a franchise-turning player.
Yeah, the way he's been talked about for a little bit, and for like 2 or 3 years, he's a franchise turning player.
Like, that was shocking to me to see them pass that up, so I'm excited.
But the thing is, with this draft, I'd say 1 to 5 are franchise-changing players.
Okay, wow.
So this draft has been talked about. Like, I remember when people were talking about the Zion draft. I'm like, yeah, but it'll be Zion, then it'll be a bit of a quiet draft year, and then the year after that, it'll be big. So people have been talking about this draft for a long time.
Yeah.
and I can sort of see why. I did like last year's draft as well, but there's this 1 to 5, and there's a drop off after that. But 1 to 5 is all of them are franchise changing.
Okay.
So we'll start off with Cade Cunningham.
Yep.
So for those who don't know, I do a little rundown. That's why I've got the laptop in front of me of each little player. Cade Cunningham is a combo guard out of Oklahoma State University. He stands an impressive 6'7" with a 7-foot wingspan. He's a primarily ball handler, and he's really plays the point guard, but in the NBA, it's a bit like you're either a guard, a wing, or a big, or you're a wing big, or you're just a guard or a big. So there's not as much like a 1 to 5, so I'd say he's a combo guard. He's a gifted playmaker and shot creator that loves to have the ball in his hands. It's rare to see a player at the ripe young age of 19 to have his ability to create openings for himself and the team at will, using hesitation moves and tempo control to slice to the defense and create an opening for himself or his teammates. Not to mention he is most likely one of the best defenders in this draft already.
Wow.
There's a reason why he's going number 1. Being a pure two-way player, my comparisons for him are a mix between Shea and D'Lo.
Interesting. Okay.
Both big, oversized, tall guards, but they don't have the defensive... Like, offensively, he's mixed between Shea and D'Lo. Defensively, it's more like Kobe. Where he's... Not Kobe's level, but like, as an on-ball defender, he's not a gambler, right? Where, like... MJ was a gambler. MJ was a defensive as a gambler. He's going to dive for steals. He's going to try. He's going to fail sometimes. Where Kobe's, I'm just going to stick on you.
Yep.
Or it's that defensive style.
Yep.
So maybe even Drew. Maybe more of like a Drew.
Drew's great on ball.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it's mixed between like a Shea, D'Lo, and Drew Holiday.
Yeah.
And that's incredible, right?
Really, really
if you can mix, because Shea is 6'6", 6'7", D'Lo's 6'5". He's 6'7" with a 7-foot wingspan. That's fucking incredible.
Insane.
He's a shot creator. He's a playmaker. He gets a lot of comparisons to Luka, but I don't feel that's correct.
Okay.
Because Luka is like Bron light. This guy doesn't play like Bron.
Yeah.
He plays more like a mix between Shea and D'Lo.
Yeah.
He's so good. He's so fucking good. He has a... Do you remember with LaMelo, we talked about feel for the game and he moves at his own pace? How he's like... he's always been a step above everyone he's played with. Yeah. Cade's like that.
Yeah.
So he's going to come in and immediately be probably the best player on the Pistons.
I expect him to be.
Yeah.
Honestly. Now, just touching on that, you gave him the comparison offensively of Shea and D'Lo. I just want to touch on that because I know what you mean by it. For anyone that's listening, Shea and D'Lo may not sound like a great comparison because they're still young. D'Lo's not great. He's good, not great. And same could be said with Shea. But the fact is 19 coming in and we're confident in saying that he could very quickly be that is insane.
Like a 6'7" point guard that can carve through the defense, kick out, or the way I say D'Lo is because I praised him a lot for his tempo control and his ability to stop and start.
Yep.
Right, he moves slow and then a burst of speed. Cade Cunningham does that in a bigger frame
6'7"
and is probably a better rim finisher.
Yep.
Right, like it's incredible.
That's insane.
So this guy's going to come in and be... Because D'Lo's an all-star. People forget that. D'Lo's an all-star. Shea is a perennial all-star.
Yep.
And Cade's going to come in and be near that.
Yep.
So he's a franchise changer. He's like a guy you can build your franchise around.
Yeah. The only thing... I'm not concerned with Cade at all. Something I like to touch on with these two-way players specifically is when it comes to watching their first rookie year, even the second year for that matter, you're not going to see... Kawhi Leonard. You're not going to see Kobe
defense
Bryant.
Isn't going to be there right away.
They need to get their offense sorted, and if they're getting their offense sorted and adjusting to NBA minutes, they're going to be fucking exhausted.
100%. He's going to be drained, and he's got a good frame, but the NBA is a more physical world than he's used to.
Yep.
So he's going to have some like learning time on defense, but he'll get there.
Yeah.
He's going to be like, I could see him being like ceiling all NBA, offensively and defensively.
Yeah.
Like that's what I can see.
That's insane.
Right? So he's your number 1 pick.
Yep.
We'll move on to the number 2 pick.
Just quickly with Cade and the Pistons. So obviously they've got Killian Hayes. I think they'll work on him for a little bit.
Correct.
He could be a great point guard with Cade. Jeremy Grant, obviously very similar position.
Jeremy Grant's like a 3 to a 4.
Yeah. But I mean,
Or same height.
He's not same height, just offensive minded for the most part. What do you think is going to happen with that? Because Jeremy Grant, they've just signed.
Yeah,
a
they
big
just
deal.
signed, and Killian Hayes is in his sophomore year. Had
Do
a
you-
rough rookie year. I feel like that's your sort of three going forward.
Yeah.
You build, then you got to find a big. You
Yeah.
got to find pieces around that.
Yeah.
Killian Hayes has, like, go back and listen to last year's draft. I hyped him up a bit.
love
KOC's talked about him. You've been talking about him. European player, good, solid fundamentals. I feel like this is a 2-guard lineup you can run, and then have Jeremy Grant at like the 3 or the 4. You just need more pieces around that.
Yeah. So theoretically, if Killian Hayes gets a bit better, Cade comes in and does Cade. Jeremy Grant kind of just does what he does,
Yeah.
getting 18 to 20 points a game.
He's elevated himself over the past couple
should
years.
be solid.
Yeah, it should be
Yeah.
solid. Like, they should be in 2 to 3 years' time. They could be looking for a playoff run,
Yeah, I can see 8 seed.
right? And that's incredible from a team that was absolute bottom barrel.
Quick turnaround.
Quick turnaround. So that'll be good to see. It was a good question as well. I'll typically forget to bring up the team, so you can
Yeah.
drop me back in. So the number 2 pick, Houston Rockets, which is so weird that the Houston Rockets
It's very weird.
got the number 2 pick, but they've selected Jalen Green. Do you know much about Jalen Green?
I've
at
heard
all?
his name thrown around, but that's about it.
Cool. So when I think of Jalen Green, he reminds me, like, he personifies the younger generation of player to me.
Interesting.
Yeah, so a shot creating combo guard that can make it onto the highlight reel in every game he plays. He's an inside out player, so he doesn't have a mid range. He's either going to use his really good ball handling to get to the rim, or he's going to pop a 3 off the dribble, right? Which, Houston, pop a 3 off the dribble, get to the rim.
That's Houston ball.
Right? It's what we're used to with Houston ball, which isn't Houston ball going forward, though.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Yeah, I mean, it shouldn't be.
It shouldn't be, right? But, like, Jalen Green is probably the best pure scorer in this.
Okay.
In this draft class. Like, Cade Cunningham is a great all-around talent, but Jalen Green might be the best scorer.
Okay.
Jalen Green didn't go to college, and instead went to the G League.
Cool.
Which he was the first and, like, the biggest signing to do that.
Oh, that's why I've heard his name. Yep, I remember that. And people were excited to see if this would work out, because this was the real big first gamble for a big prospect.
100%.
To go
He averaged
full go
like
college.
14 points or something, which is fine. You're coming out of high school and going to the professional league.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Probably the best scorer and shot creator. That's a big thing with Jalen. He's a shot creator.
And we spoke about that. That's the hardest skill set
Yeah,
in the NBA.
I'll reiterate that throughout this and every podcast we need to do. Shot creation is the hardest skill to teach. It is the hardest skill to learn. It is something that a lot of time, if you're not born with it, you don't have it.
Yep.
Right? He's very, very crafty. I think he's 6'5", so he's just a bit shorter than Cade, but he's still playing that combo guard position. But you combine his skill set with the explosive athleticism, he's very, very good.
Yep.
Get to the rim at will, really. Can create a 3-point off the dribble at will. His passing's not bad as well.
Yep.
So if you want to run him at the 1, you can. Because they've got, what's his name from Cleveland? Houston have.
I've forgotten.
Kevin Porter Jr.
Oh, that's the guy with the attitude problem.
Yeah, so he's going to come in and play the 2 or the 3 and play a similar role. So really, Houston have this insane scoring output potentially. The big thing with Jalen is he's got so much raw talent. He's very green. So even though he did play a year professionally, that's not at the pure NBA level.
Would you say he's as raw as RJ?
No, he's better off currently
Better-
than RJ.
I mean, that's a great sign.
Like, he's got more raw talent than RJ.
Yeah, okay.
Like I talked about maybe a month ago with Jason Tatum, how Jason Tatum weaponized his talent very well.
Yeah.
And he's able to slow down a little bit and really control the angles and the pace of the game. If Jalen Green can do that, he could, like, ceiling a scoring title in his future.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Okay, yep.
Like, he has the raw talent to score 25 points per game.
Would you pop him up? So obviously, in terms of polished offensive skill set, when you the year you come into the league, Luke is A,
Luka's A+.
B is Jason Tatum. Would you pop him there, like just in their first year specifically? Because Tatum was spoken.
He doesn't
like
have that polish.
So you-
That's the big thing. Maybe
tier below.
D.
D, okay.
Like C, Cade would be C.
So very raw talent,
Yeah.
but it's not polished
Yeah.
yet.
Like he's got more raw talent than RJ.
Okay.
But it's about controlling that and molding that.
Yep, okay.
And that's where I think it'll really be.
Yep.
This guy, again, the potential is there. It's just molding that in the right direction. And that's what Houston really need to figure out and work out is put this guy on the right path where you can help him weaponize that skill.
Yep.
Because if he's, shooting, he's putting 100% in every game, in every single move, he's just get the ball, shoot, get the ball, shoot, get the ball, shoot. He's never going to weaponize it.
Yep.
It's about taking that time, slowing down, and really using your talents to the best of your abilities.
Yeah.
And a great NBA team can help that.
Yeah.
There's a reason why we talk about like Orlando aren't great at building talent because they don't get guys to weaponize their skill set.
Yep.
But like, what's a team that builds really well? We've talked about it in the past. Like OKC did it really well. Is they just helped guys weaponize their talent.
Yeah.
Golden State did it really well.
I mean, teams historically that get Bron, they know how to weaponize his
Yeah.
talent, get shooters.
100%. It's just like maybe if Bron didn't go to Cleveland earlier, maybe his talent wouldn't have been weaponized in the same way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So Jalen Green has this insane ceiling of scoring potential. Defensive end, he's all right. He gets lost a little bit, but like offensively, he is just bam, bam, bam.
If you are that good offensively, you get the pass defensively. Same thing with Trae Young. Same
Yeah.
thing with Luka.
Yeah.
If you're that good offensively, that's fine. We'll get other players to fill that void.
100%. It's just making sure he has the right shot selection and weaponizing his talent properly.
Yep.
For comps, so this one actually I really struggle with. The more I saw comps online, they're like, oh, it's Zach LaVine. And I'm like, yes and no.
Bit
But-
smaller though, right?
Bit smaller. I ended up going for Brandon Ingram in terms of play style.
Oh, you picked a bigger person. Okay.
Bigger person.
Okay, just
in terms of
play
Brandon
style.
Ingram, he gets to the rim, he's crafty, he's a ball handler, he can shoot the three. Just like Brandon Ingram's talent level is insane. It's just Brandon Ingram hasn't weaponized it yet.
No.
Right?
No.
And that's part of the thing I see with Jalen Green is like the same thing. It's not height. It's you have this talent you need to weaponize.
You can see players like Ingram. You can see the talent just oozing off of them. At any point, this kid's going to drop 45 on me.
Yeah.
Insane efficiency, can be great, in all facets of the game that night. But boy, he doesn't look polished most of the time.
Yeah. And that's the thing with Jalen Green. That's why I put Brandon Ingram. Yeah. At one point, I had Clyde, a little bit of Clyde Drexler, but the more I watched, the more I leaned to Brandon Ingram.
Yeah, I think Brandon Ingram's a good comparison in regards to if they're just oozing talent, but raw.
And like if Brandon Ingram weaponized his talent this offseason, boom, that's a franchise player.
Oh, if Brandon Ingram, and I stand by this, and you'll probably agree with me, if he becomes polished, he's an all-star.
'Cause he's as good
an
as Tatum
All-NBA. He's insane.
Mm-hmm. He's talent-wise is as good as Tatum.
Yeah.
It's just Tatum weaponized it so much earlier.
Yep.
So 100% Brandon Ingram is my comparison. As for how he's going to go in Houston, it's interesting. Houston went from like, okay, we're contending, flip everything, we're rebuilding.
Yep.
Okay, we've already got a young squad ready to go.
Yep.
They wasted no fucking time. New coach, Steven Silas.
Which is what it should have been, honestly.
100%.
You had 2 Hall of Fame players in your team.
Yeah.
Still playing fantastically. You should be able to rebuild right away.
And they did, and it's really commendable. So now they've got, obviously, Jalen Green, they've got Kevin Porter Jr., and
Christian
the
Wood.
phenomenal talent in Christian
Wood.
So
This is what I'm excited for.
to me, it's Christian Wood is your fucking, that's your star, that's your like thing. You pair him with Jalen Green at the 1, and then Kevin Porter Jr. at the 2.
Yep.
That's your 3-piece of I'm going to score 110 a night. Let's go.
Yep.
I don't think Rockets are going to be there yet because they need some vets around him. They need to figure out the way they want to play. Steven Silas is a new coach. So we'll see.
This is hopefully a good thing for Silas because he had a really rough go this year.
He had a rough start.
Expected to have Harden, didn't have Harden, but now you've got potentially another great scoring guard. Like you said, his ceiling could potentially be scoring champion.
Yeah. I think he has scoring champion potential.
And hopefully this pushes Silas in the right direction. I think he just needs a shot. Christian Wood's been out for a lot of the year, so he really has had no one for the most part. So a healthy Christian Wood,
Kevin Porter Jr., Jalen Green.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed, 100%. Like this is a squad you can get behind, a squad you can root for.
Yep.
Now the number 3 pick, The Cleveland Cavaliers. Adam is really excited, and I've been hyping this guy up, the guy they picked, Evan Mobley.
Yep.
My first line, Evan fucking Mobley, my favorite player in this draft. Right? And I'm going to stand by that. He is my favorite player in this draft.
Okay.
So Evan Mobley could have been the number one pick in the draft. The fact that he fell to 3 is a great thing for Cleveland. Cade was always going to be number one, but in any other draft, Evan Mobley could have been number one.
Okay.
Evan Mobley could have been the number one pick last year.
Yep.
Or if he waited, he'd be the number one pick next year. Right? He's so fucking good. He's a 7 foot, like a true, no, I wouldn't say true 7 foot. He's more like 6'11", 7 foot big man who has the physical capabilities and skill set to dominate as a first scoring option and a defensive anchor. His ability to score out of the pick scenario is outstanding for a 19-year-old. Pick and roll, attack off the dribble, short roll, oops, the list can go on, right? A rim protector with awareness to stay away from unnecessary fouls is a talent we haven't seen since Anthony Davis, and is one of the reasons why I'm so high on this kid. A lot of NBA teams don't favor the big man as much anymore, as we've seen recently. But as we've seen recently with DeAndre Ayton, a strong and savvy big can really elevate your team to another level. Evan Mobley is so versatile and talented. It's insane. It's fucking insane. How do I paint this picture? So, like, people talked about in college how, you know how AD was by far always going to be the number one pick? Yeah. How his, like, blocks and steals and defensive rating compared to fouls was ridiculous. Mm-hmm. Like, he averaged, like, 2 fouls per game, where everyone else, all the other bigs around him with similar stats, averaged 6. Evan Mobley's doing the same thing in college.
Okay.
He went to USC, which is like the secondary Californian college thing. He made them the second best defensive team in the country.
Oh, wow.
On him alone.
Oh, wow. That's really impressive.
He's really good, and he's not a defensive-only guy. He's as good offensively as he is defensively.
Okay.
A pure two-way big.
Yeah.
And it's not like, hey, I'm around the basket. He's got a leaner frame, but he's got a deadly mid-range jumper. He's got a floater. His ball handling's all right. For a 7-footer, it's great. But like, he more plays like a wing.
7 foot?
Yeah.
With a floater.
Yeah.
You can't stop that.
You can't stop that.
That's it. Like, we spoke about Luka's floater,
Trey's
Trey's floater. Insane.
Yeah.
But they're pretty small. 7 foot and a floater.
He can stretch. He can shoot the mid.
You said enough.
He can attack the rim. He's got a Euro.
That's insane.
Right? And there's one comp that, like, if you don't trust this comp, you haven't watched Evan Mobley. My comparison is Chris Bosh.
Okay.
He's like, if Chris Bosh came into the league now, this is what he would have been.
Yeah.
And Chris Bosh, towards the end of the season, was starting to stretch more as well.
Yeah.
Evan Mobley's only weakness, I'd say 2 weaknesses, is that his handle's not incredible and he doesn't have a post-up game.
Yep.
But his ability to pass out of the elbow, which we see a lot more now, like Bam Adebayo is probably second best big out of passing the elbow, apart from Jokic, right?
Yeah.
Evan Mobley can do a similar thing. You give him the ball at the elbow, put him in a triple threat scenario. Is he going to pass? Is he going to dribble? Is he going to pull up?
Yep. And he's got that mid.
Yeah. He's so good.
Interesting. Because Cleveland, all their bigs have failed.
Correct.
Like, horrifically.
But they've got the strong guards.
They've got guards on guards. They just got Rubio, I believe.
Yeah, they just got Ricky Rubio.
So that's another guard. I think someone's going to be shipped. That's what I keep hearing. But theoretically, if they don't, this sounds like a great fit for them. Finally, a good guard. Good big, which can defend, because they're starting to get defenders, but a great offensive big, which is what they've lacked for so long now.
100%. Mixing Colin Sexton, Darius Garland, Evan Mobley, and who did they pick last year in the draft?
Isaac
Okoro. Like, that is such a strong young core. Okoro is the best defender on that team.
Yep.
He's like a great on-ball and off-ball defender, and Evan Mobley is a rim protector.
Yep.
So good.
This is what I want for Cleveland. I want them to have a great big man.
This is an amazing young squad and a squad you can get behind. Like, people discredit Chris Bosh a lot. That they didn't watch Chris Bosh. They didn't watch Toronto Chris Bosh. They didn't watch where he had to do, even on the Heat, where he had to defend Duncan, Garnett, and Dirk Nowitzki, right, in the playoffs. 3 of the greatest power forwards of all time.
Yep. Chris Bosh deserves more. Like, we're not going to sit on Chris Bosh, but when he came to Toronto with the dreads, that man was scary.
Yeah, he was averaging like 25 points per game.
He was a franchise player.
Yeah, he took the biggest like cut from playing time and ball handling and everything when he went to Miami.
And zero complaints.
Zero complaints. Evan Mobley is like Chris Bosh.
That's insane.
That's insane. And Chris Bosh is a number one pick in a different draft. He just happened to be in that 2003 draft.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Evan Mobley is so good. He's my favorite player in this draft. He won't be the best. I think Cade will be the best. But Evan Mobley could be insane.
Yeah.
Like all defensive first team, all like NBA.
Because we're going to see defensively up there with Gobert, potentially.
No. Gobert's
all time.
all
right?
time.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's
But
not going
this
to be
guy-
Gobert. He's not going to be Dwight. He's going to be good.
This guy's going to be currently like an Anthony Davis level. Not right now.
The
but
same
could
way
be.
AD doesn't foul. He doesn't
Yep.
really bite on bad pump fakes. A smart defender.
Reliable, smart.
Reliable,
Yep.
always going to protect the rim. He can stretch out a little bit because he's not super bulky and slow. Like Evan Mobley's got fast feet.
Yep.
The only thing I'm worried about with Evan Mobley really is his body. He's like the leanest. He'll be by far the leanest big man in the league. So he needs to put on weight.
Which
he
is
needs to bulk out.
hard
It's
to do.
hard, but it's not impossible, as we've seen with like Giannis or Steven Adams. Right? It's not impossible.
Quite rare though. You know,
Or like even AD's put on enough weight.
We always said the same thing about KD and Brandon Ingram. Physically can't do it.
They don't. Yeah.
That's what I mean. Like it would be nice. Like especially Ingram, he actually would be much better if he did. But we'll have to see. I think
We'll
it's
see,
more
like
a
Chris
genetics
Bosh,
thing.
even he can just get to Chris Bosh weight,
Yeah.
right? Because he's not there yet. He's actually very, very lean. If he can get to a Chris Bosh weight, perfect.
Yeah.
So yeah, Evan Mobley, the number 3 pick, my favorite player in the draft. Adam, be very happy. This is so good. You essentially got a number 1 pick at the 3.
That's insane. Yep.
Incredible. So then I'll move on to number 4. And number 4 was a bit interesting. Toronto Raptors picked Scotty Barnes, which I didn't think Scotty Barnes was going to go to like 6. Okay. So they picked up someone a bit earlier. I'm not 100% sold on it because I think there was a better pick available, but they wanted Scotty Barnes. Okay. So Scotty Barnes doesn't get as much credit as the other guys. But Scotty Barnes might be the best defender in this draft. No, he is the best defender in this draft, on and off ball.
A lot of defenders.
Yeah, which is crazy
So
to see.
rare.
Yeah. But he is the best defender in this draft, on and off ball. A 6'7" wing with a 7'3" wingspan.
Wow.
Right?
Wow.
So Cade had an impressive 7-foot wingspan. This guy's got 3 inches of wingspan on that.
Yeah.
And this guy is bulky. Like he's muscular at 19.
Oh, fuck.
Right? He is
shit.
thick. So he's going to come into the NBA with an NBA ready body. And he's not going to be bullied unless he gets switched onto a big. But you know what I mean? Like he's not going to get bullied by wings.
Yep.
Which a lot of these rookies do because they don't have NBA ready bodies. But this guy is big. He's big. He was big in high school, for fuck's sake. Toronto have known to have like a defensive and team-oriented play style, and Scotty will fit right into that system. So in college and high school, Scotty played a mix between small forward and point guard. Right? So he has the passing ability to like pass out a pick, pass out of the elbow, pass if he needs to. He can probably... He's struggles a little bit with scoring. He can get to the rim very easily, but he's a very streaky shooter. Okay. Can't shoot off the dribble. So he's merely like catch and shoot. So that's something you can work on. You'd rather someone be a bit streaky than have no shot at all.
Yeah.
Because a lot of like best defenders in the league can't shoot. Robertson cannot shoot. So even him being a streaky shooter is good. When I say he's the best defender in this draft, he'll just latch on to anyone. And off ball.
Beautiful.
Like,
can you see him? So, and I'm not comparing him to Draymond or Gobert, but
he gets comparisons to Draymond because he's a vocal leader and he passes out of the elbow.
Okay. So he is someone which can anchor a defense.
Correct.
Which I think is an immense thing you're able to do.
I've got, so comparisons, I've given him a mix between Draymond in terms of how he's not a great scorer, but he's a good defender, a vocal leader, an all right passer, but more OG Anunoby.
Okay. Yep. I like
Right.
OG.
right? You're mixed between Draymond and OG.
Yeah.
And if someone is just watching this and say, how come Scotty Barnes get a mix between OG Anunoby and Draymond Green, who's like multiple-time Defensive Player of the Year, but Cade Cunningham got Shea and D'Lo?
Yeah.
It's not, that's their ceiling. This is like, that's a mix between their body and their play style.
Yeah.
So Scotty Barnes, a mix between Draymond and OG. In terms of a body type, Draymond and OG. Right? It's really, that's the mix. He
Yeah.
doesn't have that offensive skill set there just yet. He can get to the rim because he's big, bulky. He won't be able to muscle his way through like he did previously, but he's strong.
It gets worrying with these guys because they're not bigs. You know, Draymond technically, but is what 6'7", 6'8".
Yeah.
You know, he can play the 3 and the 4 if he wants. And OG's not a big; he's a wing. And these guys generally, obviously not Draymond is a Hall of Famer, but generally these guys struggle if they don't have an offensive skill set. Whereas big men, they're allowed to.
Yeah.
Historically, and even to this day, if you're a great defender, can anchor a defense as a big man,
They get a
we don't
pass.
need you to do 20 points per game.
Yeah.
Because it's a lot easier to anchor a defense under the rim or at the rim
Yeah.
than it is on the perimeter and whatnot. That's why we still need Drew Holiday to get 15, 20 points per game and
100%.
all these other players. So that's a lot going against him
It
already.
is. But his upside is that he's already going to be a great defender.
Yep.
And in Toronto as well.
Yes. But, so there's a couple things I want to touch on.
Correct.
Robertson doesn't last.
Correct.
These kind of players don't last.
He'll be
you
a
know?
better scorer than Robertson is currently.
Yeah. I know Tony Allen's, the pinnacle of
Defense,
all
defense,
defense,
defense.
no offense. And that's fine, but we're running into an era of basketball where if you're a wing or a guard and you can't score at all, regardless of how good your defense is, you're a situational player.
Yeah.
We generally can't play. It becomes, you've watched the NFL.
Correct.
It's on offense, we've got this squad. Defense, we've got this squad. When it comes to crunch time, a player
doesn't
like
work.
this, it's going to be, okay, now they've got the ball, bringing it up, we'll pop you in.
Yeah.
That's it. And then offensive, you're back out.
Yeah.
And that's not good. You
No.
need to have, like you said,
It
Cade
leads
is a
to,
two-way.
it leads
He's
to
fine.
Ben Simmons being benched in crunch time.
Yes, exactly that. And you don't want that. So hopefully he can figure it out because it's not something I think people should glance over. It's like, no, he'll work it out. A lot
No.
of players don't.
Yeah, a lot of players don't. I think he will because he's not awful offensively. He's just not as talented as everyone else around him.
Yep.
And in a Toronto team where they can take their time,
Yep.
they don't need him to be the best scorer.
Yep.
They need to be a good passer, which because they might be moving off Kyle Lowry.
I've heard that. I've heard Pascal's in the mix.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, it just looks to me like Masai is wanting to just do a big.
Rearrange.
Rearrange.
I don't think they're going to get rid of Pascal. I think Kyle Lowry's gone. And it's part of the reason I think Scotty Barnes works because he played point guard a bunch.
Yep.
He can pass.
Yep.
Right? He's a bit of a playmaker.
Yes.
And he's not a primary ball handler, but you got Fred VanVleet there as your primary ball handler.
That's true. Yeah, and he's
Right?
gone into that role.
He's gone into that role. So this is a secondary passer out of your wing spot. It's not ideal, but
I still don't feel great about it, and here's the reason why.
yeah.
Is because Pascal's struggling. No, he's playing fine, but he's not taking those steps he needs to take to be that franchise player.
Yeah.
Lowry's, we're going to assume he's gone. Fred VanVleet is great, but he's also streaky, which we don't want when you're pairing him with a guard, which out of everyone we've mentioned so far, not a great scorer yet.
Yeah.
So when you mix him with Pascal and Fred VanVleet, who's streaky, I don't feel good about it. This is the first one so far where I don't feel good about it.
He's the worst one out of the five.
Yeah. Well, you said initially that you were surprised that he was taken.
Yeah, I thought he would get taken around 8. And there's another one we'll get to at 6. So I did, I ran out of time a little bit, so I only did up to 6 profiles. But I think they're the only ones that are really noteworthy and worth talking about.
Yep.
Maybe next week I'll come with like, hey, here's a few little tidbits on like some of my late picks that I
Yep.
loved, like I did with like Tyler Hero. But Scotty Barnes, I didn't think he'd be taken 4. I think he'd be taken like 6 or 7. He could, like, I think he'll be one that we'll see how much he develops over that first year because Nick Nurse is one of the best coaches in basketball.
Yes. Yep.
So we'll see how Nick Nurse can help weaponize Scotty Barnes' offensive skill set.
And like you said, they are a defensive-minded franchise.
100%. 100%. So yeah, my comps for him were like OG Anunoby and Draymond Green, like a weird mix between them.
Yep, I can see it.
So we'll move on to the number 5 pick. The Orlando Magic, so a team that has struggled for a long time, historically has not been very good at developing players, picked Jalen Suggs. So have you heard about Jalen Suggs at all?
No, I've heard his name thrown around as well.
So Jalen Suggs is someone that Kevin O'Connor's been really high on, and a lot of analysts have been really high on. A lot of guys at the Ringer have been very high on, and I can see why. He's a dynamic and smart point guard who has the rare talent to make everyone around him better. A smooth and decisive player that has the basketball IQ to find the open man the exact moment they need it and has the ability to make that pass. Being one of the smartest players and really understanding basketball has helped him on the defensive end too. Always in the right place at the right time to make the right play. Combining his ability with his mindset and being a vocal leader means he's an immense talent and one that you want to get for your future of your franchise.
Okay.
My comps are Kyle Lowry and Chauncey Billups.
Ooh, beautiful comparison.
Right? So this is
famous.
a pass-first playmaker, but has the ability to score.
Yep.
Is a vocal leader, is smart enough to be a great defender on the other end. He's like 6'4", 6'5", around that perfect. He's a pure point guard. He's not a combo guard like Jalen Green or Cade Cunningham. He is like a pure point guard.
Yep.
Which I thought he was going to go 4 or 2, but he dropped to 5, thankfully for Orlando. Orlando 2, I don't know, we'll get into the fit in a bit, but Jalen Suggs can shoot off the catch, he can drive, he has an all right mid-range, his floater's getting there. Defensively on ball, he's all right.
Yep.
He's going to struggle a little bit just with the size and the muscle and the physicality. Off ball, he's very smart. He sticks with his man. He doesn't get lost on defenses. He understands assignments. But yeah, his passing ability is very, very good. It's not like, because Cade Cunningham gets the Luka comparison, because all the time it's create an opening and then kick it out to the corner for a shot. Jalen Suggs works more in a good system.
Yep.
The same way Kyle Lowry and Billups did.
I think it's much harder to work in a good system than it is to drive and kick out. We
Yeah.
see a lot
Cade
of
Cunningham
average players.
creates every opening on the court.
Think of
Suggs
the way I look at these things, and
makes it
I think
pass.
you might agree with this, is you've got the coaches with their system. Say you've got Nick Nurse, right? And he is the professor. He's the one with the chemistry utensils, and he's putting together a potion. The only way it's going to work is if you've got the right chemicals, and you need guys like Suggs to be able to make things work. And that's what I look at. You can have the smartest coach ever, but if the talent you've got there they can't stay on their man. They don't understand assignments. They don't understand plays.
Yep.
It's just not going to work regardless of how good you are. So if you've got someone like that, regardless of if they don't have the best floater, they don't have the best offensive game yet, they're still rather raw. If they understand their assignments and understand the system
Yep.
and can do that, that's why we see guys like Caruso get so many minutes.
100%.
And he's not going anywhere because he understands his role and his assignment.
What's his name? The big man on Golden State that I used to hate.
Oh, Looney.
Looney.
Yeah.
Always at the right place at the right time defensively and offensively.
It's an immense thing that teams cherish. That's why
100%.
Haslam has been around the Heat for so damn long.
100%.
You know, and it's a great thing to see.
Another thing with Suggs is, we talked about before how polished, like EX tier is Luka, A. B is Jason Tatum.
Yep.
Cade Cunningham, C. Jalen Green is D.
Yep.
Suggs is probably C in terms of polish. So he's coming in pretty polished already.
That's good, yeah.
So he's like, he can fit onto a lot of teams as like a second rotation and work his way up and get more polished and better and better and better and weaponize his skill set.
Yeah.
The thing is, though, he's going to Orlando. Orlando last year picked up Cole Anthony, a franchise point guard, a point guard they want to look to going forward.
Yep.
I think Suggs is better. I think Suggs is going to be better already, but maybe it's best pick that no one thought Suggs would fall to 5. So it's best pick, but it's a bad fit, especially on a team that doesn't develop well.
I mean, it's at what point do you say, "Oh, I feel good about Orlando drafting him"? Never, because Orlando, like we've seen what they've done with these guys. They're better, in my opinion, at getting someone else's draft pick. Like some other teams drafted it, they've had him for a couple of years. It's not working out. Give him to us. We can make something work. So what happened with
Correct.
Fultz has become a good player.
Yeah.
But in
Yeah,
terms
they got
of
Fultz as well.
yeah,
Like it's their third young guard.
Just happens. I don't know what they want, and they had big men. They're still not playing Bamba. I'm no longer in Bamba's corner. I think he's too limited in what he can do. But there are just so many things that I don't understand about Orlando, regardless of who they draft.
Yeah, look, I'm with you. I also apologize for kicking your laptop.
That's a piece of shit anyway.
Fair enough. But yeah, look, it's a rough spot, him going to Orlando, because I don't know what Orlando want to do. It seems like they don't even know. They got rid of Vucevic, their best player, and they got rid of Evan Fournier, their second best player.
Yep.
So they're in a rebuilding phase.
Yeah.
So I think Suggs is going to be the best player on that team, like
Do you think,
potential-wise.
assuming Jonathan Isaac's health stays healthy,
He has a higher ceiling than Jonathan Isaac.
Okay.
Like he has a Kyle Lowry ceiling,
Okay. Yep.
right? You know what I mean? Like it's
Yep.
top 10 point guard in the league. Like that's
Could be.
that's great.
A lot of,
you know
so
what I mean?
far, a lot of high potential.
100%,
these guys.
100%. I didn't think he dropped to 5. A lot of people didn't think he dropped to 5.
Yep.
I'll move on to my last little one at number 6. And this was the biggest surprise in the draft by a country fucking mile.
Oh, this one I'm aware of.
Oklahoma City Thunder select Adelaide's own Josh Giddey.
Let's go.
So
Let's
Josh
go.
Giddey wasn't expected to go until like 10 to 15.
Yeah.
And he went at 6. From the fucking masterminds at OKC. So they clearly see something we don't.
Yeah.
My little rundown on Josh Giddey. Josh Giddey is a pure playmaker who moves at his own pace and carves up the defense to either get to the rim himself or create open shots for teammates. At a staggering 6'9" for a point guard, he will tower over most of his matchups unless teams make a switch or put a bigger player on him, in which you either outspeed them or find the mismatch elsewhere. He is a streaky shooter with lots of room to grow and is the youngest player in this draft at 18 years of age. Josh Giddey... many had Josh Giddey going 10 to 15, but OKC clearly see something in him and traded up to get him.
You want to know why? I could already tell you why.
Why?
Because the 2-guard lineup worked so fucking well for OKC.
So they won. But this is a completely different 2-guard lineup. This is
only because he's 6'9". He's a pass-first playmaking
you cannot
guard.
compare Josh Giddey to Chris
It's
Paul.
Chris Paul.
You can't compare
He just got
Josh
big
Giddey to
Chris Paul.
No,
Adelaide Chris
you can't
Paul.
compare one of the best mid-range shooters in the history of the sport to that 18-year-old Josh
I'm
Giddey.
just saying, it makes sense that they want to pair Shea with another guard.
Yes, but not another oversized guard who isn't a great shooter.
I mean, Chris Paul...
You just got Shea too.
I think it makes sense to me. It's
Lucas
risky,
Alexander-Lou.
but I think it makes sense to me.
It was a definitely interesting choice. So at 6'9", he's gonna be the tallest point guard in the league.
Yep.
One thing I really like about Josh Giddey, the more I watched.
Ben Simmons. 6'11" point
you're
guard.
You're right.
Second
biggest point guard. One thing I really liked about Josh Giddey is he moves similar to LaMelo did, where LaMelo moved at his own pace. You remember when LaMelo was playing in the NBL, and for those who don't know, Josh Giddey played in the NBL, which is the Australian League. He played for Adelaide 36ers, Adelaide boy. LaMelo moved at his own pace. Josh Giddey does the same thing.
Yeah. Okay, that's immensely impressive because when we watched LaMelo,
Yeah.
it was very clear that he moves better than anyone in this league currently.
Josh Giddey does the same thing.
That's insane.
And so that's something you can't teach.
Yep.
This is like, you got to be born with that talent.
Yep.
And the fact that he's got the same eye for the passes like the Melo does. He may not have the same talent the Melo does, but he's got the same eye for it.
Yep.
And that's, again, something you can't teach. You can teach shooting. You can make him a more consistent shooter over time if he's willing to work on it. But you can't teach feel for the game, and you can't teach eye for passes.
Yep.
That is born and bred, right?
It's a whole other thing. It's something when you step foot onto the court, you either understand it or you don't. And it's very evident with these kind of players. A lot of the players in the NBA, they've got to the NBA because they understand that, but some players excel at it.
100%. He excels at it. He's like, where like the NBA is the 1%. This guy has the rare talent of 1% of the 1% of he can see these openings and he can move at his speed.
Yep.
There's a few negatives I have on him is he's not the greatest athlete. Keep banging the mic. I always do it. It's my talent. I'm the out of the 1% people that smash the mic every episode, I'm that 1%. So he's not the best athlete.
Okay.
Right? So he wasn't the best. He wasn't the quickest when he played in the NBL. He's, in the NBA, it's a different league.
Yeah.
There's the best athletes. So he's not going to be able to outspeed people like outspeed any guards, right? He's not going to beat them off the dribble. So he's going to either have to use his height to his advantage, which he can. 6'9" he'll be bigger than a lot of wings. He'll be bigger than, he's Bam's height. Yeah. Bam at a Bio's height, at a center, at a starting center. You know what I mean? Again, he's a streaky shooter off the catch. He's good at getting to the rim because he can move at his own pace. Yep. We'll see how that translates to the NBA game, but he's got something, and it depends on how you're able to develop that, because he has that playmaking ability and the ability to carve through defenses.
Yep.
We'll see. My comps mix between LaMelo Ball and Kyle Anderson.
Ooh, I wasn't expecting Kyle Anderson to come up. I'm a fan of him, though. I'm a fan of Kyle Anderson.
Do you get what I mean?
I do get what you mean. That's a very interesting comparison.
Yeah.
But it kind of I think Kyle Anderson paints the picture.
Yeah.
I think I get
mix between LaMelo Ball and Kyle Anderson, and I think that's my favorite comparison I found.
Yeah, I really like that. I'm excited for that one. Mm-hmm. I think I'm not saying he's the worst. He's bad. Out of everyone you've said, I think he has the most going against him.
Yeah.
Because like you said, the biggest thing is playing the NBL is not playing like college even in the US. The NBL's not great. Sorry, any NBL fans, the NBL is not great. It has a lot. It's gotten better, but it's a lot to do. So if you are, making strides in the NBL, you won't be against the 1% in the NBA.
Yeah.
The best of the best. And it's not going to work the same way.
No.
So it's whether if he's smart enough in here to adapt, which, fingers crossed he is. I want Adelaide kids to go well. But he's got a lot going against him. Whereas 100%. The other guys you've mentioned, by the sounds of it, they should fit in more, slot in, and help those cogs go on the team. Mm-hmm. Whereas this, maybe not.
100%. I'll do a quick recap. So we got the number 1 pick, Detroit Pistons, Cade Cunningham, franchise player. We've got number 2 at the Houston Rockets. We've got Jalen Green, an all NBA level kind of scorer. Mm-hmm. And number 3, Cleveland Cavaliers, we've got Evan Mobley, a all NBA center.
Yep.
It's crazy versatile. We'll probably end up playing the 4 a lot because it's a bit thinner.
Yep.
At number 4, we've got Scotty Barnes, a crazy defender, best defender in the draft. Number 5, Jalen Suggs. And number 6, we have
you just gave me.
Josh Giddey.
Yeah.
Josh Giddey. That was a lot. My brain's all scrambled. It's not often I talk for 50 minutes nonstop.
Yeah, this is the first ramble you've ever done.
Yeah. So next week I'll probably come with my couple guys of like, hey, here's some of my picks that went like 9th, 12th, 15th that I really like.
Well, next week, I believe we'll be getting dressed up because we got the Blockies next week, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I guess so.
Yeah, it's Blockies time.
You want the Blockies next week?
Right. What else would we be doing? There's no basketball.
We'll be talking about trades.
If trades happen, we'll do a trade episode because there'll be a lot to talk about. If not, potentially Blockies.
Do you want 2 weeks of prep time for the Blockies?
I don't think we need 2 weeks of prep time.
Okay.
You're not going to do 2 pages on it. This is the first time you've ever done so many notes before.
2.5 pages. Yeah, I did a lot of notes. Yeah, look, okay, we can do Blockies next week.
We see how the news goes.
Yeah, we'll see how the news goes. Blockies will either be next week or absolute latest will be the week after that.
Yeah, so 1 to 2 weeks away. Mm-hmm. I'm super excited for it.
We're getting dressed up.
Yes. So if you're unaware, the Blockies are our award show.
Our award show,
Annual award show. So it'll be a lot of generic awards, but a lot of other miscellaneous rewards that we love doing.
100%. If you want a quick preview, it would be hard to listen to, but go listen to season 1's episode. The audio is a bit rougher, but go listen to season 1 Blockies episode.
Blockies 2020, I believe it was called.
I believe it was Blockies 2020. So go listen to that and you'll get a brief preview of what this Blockies is like. It's fun.
Yep.
It's fun. I remember pushing to do the Blockies with you, and you were like, "Oh, I don't know," but now you're like, Blockies.
I didn't want to call it the Blockies.
Oh yeah, you don't want to call it the Blockies. It's the best name.
I love the show, but then it was like it made you happy, and I'm like,
it's the best name.
Yeah, all right.
It's stuck.
You sold me.
It's the stuck. Draft block. That was a name I thought of in 5 seconds. That's stuck.
We throw the block at the end of anything, and it freaking
we're the low block.
Yeah. But just before we wrap up, I am super ecstatic right now.
One trade that has happened so far.
If you're a fan of the Lakers, if you're a fan of Westbrook, which is just me
and me,
and you're not a fan of the Lakers.
No, but I mean,
if you're a fan of both,
if you're a fan of both, I've
got a raging hard on right now.
Yeah,
Westbrook.
A quavering, thunderous erection.
Oh my gosh, it's gonna burst through the ceiling like what was it?
It's going to pierce the heavens.
Yeah, it's gonna pierce the heavens. I'm so excited right now. And the reason I am, because I'm not big on Bron. I think Bron's personality is atrocious. AD, I don't like the way he forced his way out, and sometimes I just don't like the way he refuses to play the 5. It's a bit frustrating. And I loved Josh Hart, I loved Ingram, I loved Julius Randle, I loved Lonzo, I loved all these kids, and they were forced to go, led into the wild, and we got some guys back, which I didn't love. I understood I didn't love, but I love Westbrook, one of my favorite point guards of all time. I love his personality, I love his enthusiasm, I love how he just wants to strangle everyone on the court, but loves you off the court. And the fact that we actually got him is phenomenal. I don't care if it doesn't work. I told Adam, if we don't make the 8th seed, I don't give a shit.
Yeah, you don't care.
I've got Westbrook.
You got Westbrook.
And
you can buy a Westbrook Lakers jersey.
Bro, I told Adam, if he makes it halfway through the season without getting traded, I know it's for real. I'm going to get a Westbrook jersey. As all I want.
Yeah.
And 2 things to touch on. A, I assume is going to replace the zero that we had. Garbage zero we had before was Kuzma. Glad that's gone.
Yeah. So the trade, for those who don't know, KCP, Kuzma,
Harrell.
Montrezl Harrell, and a pick for
picks.
Westbrook.
Yep. And then they threw in a couple second round picks for like 2028 or something. The things I wanted to touch on besides Westbrook, I don't know if it was going to work. It's too soon for me to say because he can't shoot. But
Well documented.
Kuzma, I know I just spoke a bit of shit about him, but historically, if you go through the episodes, I've never really slandered Kuzma.
No.
And the reason is I don't think he deserves any hate. He very evidently, his role got cut entirely. There was 1 year with Bron where it seemed to work, but then it just didn't. And he was asked, you've got to play defense. You're a wing, you're 6'10", you can play defense and the power forward, and he did it. He did his role. And I don't think he deserves slander for that. Yes.
The expectations on him were way too much.
Way too high. And it's because he had some great nights, but that's not what the team needed or wanted. So I don't, when you see Kuzma's last year with us, even the last couple, that it's what we asked of him. You know, we didn't ask him to do 30 points a night. We needed him to play defense, and he played defense. So I thank Kuzma for everything he's done. I hope he does well, you know, wherever he goes. Harrell, I love Harrell. I know you're not big on Harrell, but Harrell was a guaranteed bucket. And I understand he wasn't fitting in well with the Lakers front office. My things I was confused about with Montrezl Harrell, I love his energy, I love his consistency, I just loved what he does. But very rarely got playing time the longer the season went on. Had some did not plays in the playoffs. And it didn't make sense to me. I understand he's not the best defender, especially at his size. But when we need buckets, when Anthony Davis is down, when LeBron isn't scoring, why not go to Montrez? And I didn't understand that. I still don't. I blame us for the way we handled the Montrez situation. So I hope things go well for him. And lastly, KCP, I didn't want to let go of him.
I loved KCP.
I think he's a super consistent scorer when we need him. You
One of your best 3-point shooters in franchise history.
Let's be real. No one started shooting the 3 until like 5-10 years ago. So, but KCP's always been reliable for us. He gets a lot of shit. You know, some games he won't score at all, but when we do need him to score,
the binary Mamba.
Yeah.
Which is the best nickname in basketball. Yeah, Thank you, China.
Yeah. But it's sad to see him go, but I'm excited for Westbrook, man.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
It was a crazy trade that I didn't think would happen so early.
Yeah.
It makes the season interesting, and it means you absolutely cannot play the Lakers 2K.
Oh, no, it has to happen now. It has to happen.
That's so busted. Oh, okay, I'll play Nets.
You can play Nets. I'll beat you with Brooklyn. No, not Brooklyn. New York.
Yeah,
I'll beat you with New York again.
Sure.
All right, for those that don't know, before we wrap it up, he played Pete Golden State. I played Dennis Smith Jr. New York.
This is 2K18?
And I beat you.
Yeah, you did. You did. Because I was trash.
Now you're a god.
Now no one can touch me.
Yeah, which is false, but anyway.
You suck at new 2K.
I can't do new 2K.
Josh went from the best 2K player out of us by a country mile to now you can't beat us.
I have 1 win to my name.
In new 2K.
Okay.
And that's how it should be. Years of retribution, vindication.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll wrap it up.
All right.
If you've made it through this far, thank you very, very much. It may not look like it, but the draft block is a lot of work. It was a bit rushed, but it's still a lot of fucking work. So a lot of time and effort.
I'm exhausted, obviously.
Thank you very much for making it through this far. If this is a favorite part of our week every week, we have Instagram, Facebook. We're on Spotify, Apple Pod, Google Pod, Yahoo Pod, Groove Shark, Instagram, SoundCloud. We're Adelaide Uni. We're everywhere. We out there. Thank you very much.
I feel like you're waiting for me to stop you at some
Yeah,
point.
100%. I was waiting for you to chime in.
For it.
Adelaide Uni. Thank you very much, guys. Like, rate, subscribe. Anything that would help us reach out to more people. We love doing it. We'd love to do it more if more people listen to us.
Yeah.
Have a good week. Love you all. Bye.